Young Turks has a new deals page, revision3.com/TYT deals.
John Boehner, who earlier has said that he's open to ending oil subsidies. John Boehner is the Speaker of the House. He said that he is for ending oil subsidies, but now he has decided not to have an oil subsidy vote. The Speaker wants to increase the supply of American energy to lower gas prices and create millions of American jobs. Raising taxes will not do that. Let's listen to John Boehner earlier this week, JR, clip number 6. This is flip-flop number 1, but clip number 6.
I'm sure you saw that the former CEO of Shell Oil came out and said that the company, they don't need these subsidies.
I don't think the big oil companies need to have the oil depletion allowances. But for small, independent oil and gas producers, if they didn't have this, there'd be even less exploration in America than there is today.
So would you be in favor of seeing some of these subsidies that are going to big oil at times of record profits?
It's certainly something that we ought to be looking at.
Of doing away with these subsidies?
We certainly ought to take a look at it. We're at a time when the federal government's short on revenues. We need to control spending, but we need to have revenues to keep the government moving, and they ought to be paying their fair share.
Well, the president's proposed doing away with eight different subsidies. This would be about $4 billion a year. You think that's worth doing?
I think we ought to take a look at it.
We ought to take a look at it. I love that. That's so non-committal. We ought to take a look at it. Jonathan Karl from ABC News interviewing the Speaker of the House. I mean, listen, how is it that John Boehner and his party can have all this pity, all this sympathy for these small independent oil producers who just can't do their exploring without our subsidies? So then they'll explore and they'll get more subsidies, they'll get more tax breaks because they'll find oil, and they'll still charge us the same for oil or more. And John Boehner has no sympathy for the small wind farmers. He has no sympathy for the small ethanol producers. He has no sympathy for anyone who's looking for alternative ways, solar, alternative ways of creating energy in this country. That he's talking about small independent explorers looking for oil in this country that are going to be, if we don't give these subsidies, these poor people are going to be out of work. Well, here's the thing. Why are we letting them look still if we know what the result is going to be? If we know that gas prices and oil prices are still going to keep going up, even if we find small reserves of oil in this country, small places where oil exists offshore. The point is we have relied on fossil fuels for too long now, and if the Speaker of the House cared enough about changing that, he would not endorse the brakes for the oil companies, but he would endorse instead some brakes and some incentives for people looking for alternative sources of energy in this country. It could create jobs, it could create certainly cheaper energy, but it could also create a totally new industry for the United States, one that we could compete maybe even with China for. But let's just go back to what Boehner said there. He said he would take a look at it. Now, I don't know what that means. That means to me that he'll take a look at it. Well, it seems that he's taken a look at it, and he didn't like what he saw, because today he's rejected on Thursday Democratic calls to consider legislation eliminating billions of dollars in tax breaks for those oil companies. So as the country's largest oil companies report near record profits, it's a little bit of an off year, I guess, near record profits, the tax subsidies that the Speaker of the House told Jonathan Karl of ABC News that he would take a look at, those subsidies will continue. Gas prices on the rise. We would welcome the opportunity to show our constituents that Congress is ready to stop wastefully subsidizing some of the most profitable businesses in the world and instead use that money to reduce the deficit that the Republicans are complaining about and invest in real relief from high gas prices. That is what the Democrats should be talking about. That's Representative Earl Blumenauer from Oregon. That is the refrain that the White House should be using. Nobody knows who Earl Blumenauer is, with all due respect to Mr. Blumenauer and his family. People don't know him. People know Barack Obama. They need to hear the White House putting those two pieces together, putting the oil companies and the Republican Party together and saying that's why your gas prices are too high.
I know what you're thinking. I can't wait to get a deal out of the Young Turks.
Can't wait!
And that's totally a good idea, because if you go to our new deals page, you can see all of our deals.
All of them.
Okay, you got promo codes that get you stuff for free, you got discounts. Revision3.com/TYT deals.